Welcome to Sonic Bros. Today I will go over the history of Dolly Dimples. So, if you don't know who the heck Dolly Dimples is, I am about to tell you that. So, if you didn't know, Dolly Dimples is a Chuck E. Cheese's character built in 1978 for the second ever Chuck E. Cheese's in Cruiser Road, San Jose, California, and it was at this special area in the restaurant called the Lounge, also known as the Cabaret, where it was separate from the showroom and the game room, and they had an animatronic there. Sometimes they had the Beagles, King, and some type of pianoist character, and I will go over the history of them today. First of all, the hippo from Hobo, Dolly Dimples. Dolly Dimples is partially based off of Dolly Parton, based off of the singing role, but Dolly Dimples is voiced by Lady Bianca, who she was kind of modeled by, and it's unknown who Dolly Dimples is really based off of, like any like hip singers, and she actually had a unique movement that no other Chuck E. Cheese character had. She had a hip movement, which is pretty interesting to put some more character to the animatronic and made her more hip. See what I did? And yeah, Dolly Dimples is a pretty cool animatronic. And on the sign, they said this room is especially meant for mom and dad, because she is saying jazz music and some other stuff that isn't the best for kids. So Dolly Dimples was meant for the adults because of her puns and types of songs that she sang. But Dolly Dimples, design wise, is a pretty cool character, and there is some merchandise. First of all, is a super rare mug from probably 1979 of the portrait bot design on there, and this goes for a lot of money. Then some pins, which yeah, that's not that great looking, but most of them look pretty okay. And then this pin, which looks pretty great to the portrait bot. And then they made this plushie of Dolly Dimples, which is the most elusive thing about this video, which there was only 3 made that we know of, and 3 people own this plush, and they're private collections. The last time it's ever been on eBay was around like 2006 with a Mr. Munch plush, and that's been since bought by Captain Slappy, a Chuck E. Cheese's fan who got the plush. And there's also this metal figure, which is pretty cool too. And they made these in Chuck E. Cheese's Showbiz Pizza Place and Captain Andy's Rivertown, which is pretty cool. And then they made this wind up Dolly Dimples toy, which is the most rare item because it was a prototype and they never got mass produced, and only a couple exist of some of the characters. And this was kind of like a bar area where like people watched her sing without any extra noise. Next up, we will go over the Cyberamic Dolly Dimples. So before, that was a portrait bot designed by Harold Goldbranson, who made tons of the stuff for Pizza Time Theater. But this one is by Kinetics, who made the Cyberamics from 1980 to around the late 90s when Animation World took over the Cyberamic making. But uh, back when Kinetics did it, this is their Dolly Dimples animatronic, which it looks pretty great, even better than the last one, because the last one had a latex face and not the foam face, as seen here. Which Dolly Dimples looks pretty great. I think she has a pretty good design. Overall, they did the Cyberamic pretty well so far, and they did quite a bit of things well with this Dolly Dimples, and it would vary depending on the locations. Some had the King, some had the Beagles, some had Dolly Dimples, or other characters like the Beach Bowsers or BB Bubbles, which I will go over soon. And Dolly Dimples had her own attraction in Pizza Time Theater. It was not an arcade game, not a ride, but a swing set, which that's a really weird looking swing set, but it's still really cool. Which Dolly Dimples is a pretty good character, and she was on quite a bit of stuff like toys, candles, pins, all sorts of things. And maybe a couple of her still exist. So yeah, Dolly Dimples is a pretty cool character. Not much to say about her otherwise, because she wasn't in the cabaret for too long. When she got shortly replaced with Arty Antlers, the moose. Originally, Arty Antlers actually had wooden antlers until they snapped and broke. It got replaced with foam antlers by a company called Redacto, which made Jasper's banjo and Arty Antlers, which is pretty cool. And Jasper's banjo is actually made out of urethane, which is pretty interesting. Arty Antlers is a pretty cool one, and he sang 60s songs. And here's what he looks like before. He looks like a wood chopper or like some type of Canadian moose, which he like a butcher type thing. Which this is a King retrofit seen in this picture, and this one is just a Dolly Dimples retrofit. And the chest movement was removed because Arty Antlers is a man. Next up, BB Bubbles, the hippo. The elephant. BB Bubbles is a hippo that has bubbles coming out of her stage that were apparently scented, which is pretty weird. And she is a pink elephant in a blue dress with slinkies on her crown for some reason. BB Bubbles is a pretty goofy looking character. All of these characters aren't too bad of designs. And no full BB Bubbles exist. Only one partial one because it's owned by the fan Jen Waite, who has a puppet of as Dolly Dimples. I've seen that image that she controls with wires, which is pretty cool. And the head is from the Danvers, Massachusetts location, which was known for their oddities. And the chest movement now is a trunk movement because BB Bubbles is an elephant. which she is pretty goofy looking. Probably my least favorite out of these, but honestly, her voice is really high pitched. For too long, sometimes it can be annoying, and there's the concept art for BB Bubbles. And she was also seen on this poster along with Dolly Dimples, but Arty Antlers isn't on here. BB Bubbles didn't last for very long, but Dolly Dimples lasted the longest, and Arty Antlers lasted the shortest. And here's a candle with both of them on it. And 2025, BB Bubbles kind of sort of came back in the Chuck E. Cheese's Christmas special. We don't know if it's actually a reference, but it's still cool in the way that they referenced her. Then at Jungle Gyms or the Mystery Fun House, I think it was actually the Mystery Fun House. They had a Dolly Dimples, but they turned her into a cow, which it looks pretty goofy. But it's kind of weird that she's standing up. I wonder how they did that. So, anyways, guys, peace out. And is she actually 800 pounds?